Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Entertainment News. In a few moments, we have a couple of new images from Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey Part 2. Before we get to those, a few things for you to do. Help us get to 5,000 subscribers. Do that by hitting the subscribe button, hit the alert bell, like all of our videos, comment on them, keep those comments positive and constructive, maybe give a super thanks, send $1 or $2 our way, or become a member for $2.99 a month. All right, yeah, so Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, 3 exclusive images preview the sequel's gory kill scenes. If you have been paying attention, we recently did an interview with Lewis Santer, who plays Tigger in the film. They reached out to us last month, and then more recently, Don and Jeremiah conducted that interview, and it went very, very well. So I will tack a encore presentation of that 20 or so minute review or interview to the end of this video for your viewing pleasure. All right, Rhys Frake-Waterfield's Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 is headed to theaters nationwide later this month, and we've got an exclusive preview for you today. Fathom Events will bring Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 to theaters nationwide beginning March 26th. The catch, it's playing for only 3 days, March 26th, 27th, and 28th. That's right before my birthday, but I'm sure it won't be playing anywhere locally because I live out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Tickets can be purchased online at Fathom Events or at participating theater box offices. For a complete list of locations, visit the Fathom Events website, and I will drop a link to this story in the description, so that way you can check it out yourself. Here's the official synopsis. Deep within the 100-acre woods, a destructive rage grows as Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Owl, and Tigger find their home and their lives endangered after Christopher Robin revealed their existence. Not wanting to live in the shadows any longer, the group decides to take the fight to the town of Ashdown, home of Christopher Robin, leaving a bloody trail of death and mayhem in their wake. Winnie and his savage friends will show everyone that they are deadlier, stronger, and smarter than anyone could have imagined, and get their revenge on Christopher Robin once and for all. Here are the images. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Looks like some sort of dark, crazy-ass knight standing on a rock in shadowy distances. I like that. That's pretty cool. Totally bokeh out Tigger in the background, all covered in blood, and then somebody here with their eyes apparently removed, sewn shut. I'm not really sure. And yeah, more gore. A lot of great latex effects there as well. And here is the poster for the film. Loving Piglet and Tigger and Pooh. Pretty cool. All right, yeah, so we've been doing a lot of videos about this film recently, and after today, we'll leave you alone a little bit, perhaps. Maybe not. Maybe we'll continue to discuss this film here on Let's Talk. But yeah, in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video, and stick around for an encore presentation of our interview with Lewis Santer. See you next time.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Spook. I'm your host, Jeremiah, and this is an interview that Don and I did with Lewis Santer, the star of the upcoming Winnie the Pooh sequel, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, where he stars as Tigger. Hope you enjoy.
Prosthetics. Tell me about the prosthetics again.
So the prosthetics, so it was like sort of, it only took about 2 hours to get into the prosthetics on the first day of set. And by the last day, it was about an hour and a half it got down to. So it wasn't too bad. It still felt like a while because you're still sitting there. But the team that put it on, like the couple put it on, they were lovely. So we had like good chats and stuff. It was fine. But the process was quite quick in the end. So what they did, they sort of made this hood for me. And it sort of comes down to about sort of like here on your shoulders, like halfway down your chest. And obviously the clothing then covers that. And they put on a load of talcum powder on, sort of rip it over to your head, peel it over. And then you've got this like perfect hood there. And then the longer part is actually getting the facial bits on. So because it's all prosthetics, obviously it's all little parts of your face that can all move. So I think first is the forehead, then you've got like the chin goes on, and then it sort of felt like Darth Vader at the end of Revenge of the Sith, when he's sort of getting the helmet on. You kind of get this last like face piece coming, you can see the eye holes, and they sort of like glue it all on and put it all together so it sort of molds together, and then you're sort of ready to go. And it does change you, even though you're not even looking at yourself in the mirror, it does change you, like you feel this weight on you. And you've got this black makeup around your eyes and stuff like that, and he fits. You do feel very different. You fully immerse yourself.
So, what did you do to prepare to be Tigger?
So to be Tigger, so a lot went into preparation. So Like I said earlier, so basically I got the role and then got my prosthetics fitted done, and then it was about a month until filming, so I knew I had about a month to sort of get myself in the mindset of this character, and I didn't want to just sort of kind of see how it goes in the day, so that kind of thing. I know some actors like to sort of wait till the time and go over the script like close to the time, but I thought, no, I want to really prepare for this character and try and make something special. So I watched an ungodly amount of horror films, like a stupid amount of horror films, like at least 2 to 3 a night, and just making like a whole book full of notes. I've got a book somewhere full of notes of all these different horror characters and like what they did to make themselves scary but lovable at the same time. And then I'd put that away and think, right, let me work on myself. And then I was up till like 4 in the morning most nights, or like 3 in the morning at least, sort of like crawling around my kitchen at night time and around like my living room, just sort of working out, because he's got I wanted to make habits of the character. I wanted to make little things about the character that stay the same. So he's not just like flowing to like this is who he is, you know. So like for example, like twitches and snarls and stuff like that, and the noises he makes and how he talks and how he would move. Is he on all fours all the time, or on 2 feet? So it was just that process for like a good month of working out all these different things and making constant notes all the time, going over that again, and just going crazy with it as well. I'm not holding back. He's not the kind of character I think you hold back on. Like he is on 50 Red Bulls at all times. Like he is crazy. And he wouldn't hold back, you know. He's not he's not a subtle character at all. So it was almost like preparing all these things, getting them in your head, and then once you're there on the day, then just kind of throw it out the window and just go crazy. But yeah, a good month I'd say of really like watching horror films, working out the movements, the voice, etc., and seeing what worked.
Can you give us a taste of the voice, or is that too much?
Of the voice, see, once again with the voice, they've kind of tuned it a bit. So almost like how Freddy Krueger is in A Nightmare on Elm Street. So I did the American accent actually, because it was really weird. On the first day, we weren't too sure about the accent yet until I got there, and it was going to be English, but English just didn't work. I don't know why, but English, we tried out a few different English variations, like more of a London accent, more of a Southern accent, and it didn't work. So then in the end, I came in and went, "Hello, everyone," like that, and he went, "Oh," he went, "That works." He went, "That works." And then I went, "Yeah," and I was going, "Hello, Christopher," like that, and he was like, "Oh, that's nice," and he was like. And it was really weird with prosthetics on. It almost echoed your voice. It was really weird because I had these teeth in that I'd pull my lips away from my teeth. So it's almost this echo in your voice. And then I also could do this like growl sounds. I was going like that a lot. And it echoed in the prosthetics. And then the voice sounds different. So it sounded really good with the prosthetics on as well. And then Rhys went, "I love that. Like, we love the American accent. We're going to stick with that. It works with this character." And he was like, and then in post, I can tune it a bit and make it deeper. And so I've heard the voice, how it sounds after post production, sort of like changing it a little bit, and yeah, it sounds good. So yeah, the voice is something to look forward to as well.
It's a pretty good American accent, I gotta say.
Is it?
Yeah, it was good.
Thank you, appreciate that. I feel pressure on because you're American. I'm oh god.
Right. So what were you said you watched a lot of movies for inspiration. So what are the real inspirations that you took toward Tigger?
So with Tigger, so for example, so when Rhys first spoke to me about the character, he said, right, so Freddy Krueger's inspiration. I've already seen most of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, even the remake, all of them. So I kind of knew instantly then. I was like, okay. Then he said Pennywise. So I've seen all the hits. And then he said Art the Clown. And Art the Clown was actually the one I'd never seen before. I've never seen any of the Terrifier films. I knew of them, but I've watched them. And he said, and he was a massive inspiration for Tigger, and like, especially the sort of mannerisms and how he is, and like the manic movements from going quite slow to then really quick bursts of movement when he attacks someone or whatever. So that was one I thought, right, I need to really educate myself on this. So I watched Terrifier 1 and 2 a lot, like over and over again. And obviously it's not the nicest film to watch at like 2 in the morning for like the 6th time. But I was, do you know what I mean? But I was trying to like detach myself from it and think, don't get disturbed and then not sleep, you know, try and think of it as like an actor's point of view and think, what's he done there? So scary, because it is terrifying. And the way he is like what he's done, that character is great. So Terrifier was definitely up there with some of the one of the main inspirations for the character. Also, Evil Dead Rise. It wasn't mentioned in it, but Evil Dead Rise, the new one, the mum in that, I remember watching that at cinemas and thinking, this is just this amazing work from her. So I just thought creepy. That was also inspiration. Say again?
She was so creepy.
Yeah, it's so creepy. I remember being terrified in cinemas and just her when she's holding the door and screaming. I remember thinking, it kind of put back in my head and thought, oh my god, that'd be great inspiration. So that was another one as well, actually. But the 3 main characters, we had Pennywise, Freddy Krueger, and Art the Clown. So I watched those guys over and over again in preparation for the character.
When you were prepping for Art the Clown, you didn't watch All Hallows Eve?
What's that? No, what's that? All Hallows
Well,
Eve.
it's the first movie made by those guys. Art
Oh
the
yes,
Clown is
no, I
in
haven't.
All
I
Hallows
know of
Eve.
this. Sorry, I do know. I haven't seen it yet. No, is it
Oh
good?
my goodness. It's a very different one. It's an
Is it?
anthology film, so it's very different. But it does have
Okay.
Art the Clown. That's where he came from, was that movie, and then they made his own thing.
Oh, is that the hospital bit when he's in the waiting room
That
and he's
was one
staring
of
at a
them.
girl?
I think
Is
that
that
was
the, yeah?
one
Is
of
that the
them.
bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've
So
seen that clip. I think, and that's on YouTube. I think I saw that clip, and that's about it. I
so
need to watch that then.
what's your favorite scary movie now that you've watched an entire month worth of
Yeah,
horror movies?
I'd say, oh God, I'm still going to say, and some people disagree with me on this. I know it's a bit controversial, but I love the remake of the It 2017 version, just because I remember watching it when it came out in cinemas for the first time, and even now it's just as good. That opening scene is amazing, and Bill Skarsgård, what he did with that character, I think it's just he fully immersed himself in the character. Obviously, the way he looks, obviously, and the laugh and the voice and the movements, and just it's so not human, but it is at the same time. Obviously, he's got the human features. The way he moves, it almost doesn't sit right with my brain. Do you know what I mean? It's that, and that's what creeps me out. So that's why I was so fascinated by him, and that's why that film, and also the amount of screen time he has is great. There's a lot of screen time, which I know some horror movies are kind of like, for example, Freddy Krueger in the first Nightmare on Elm Street's barely in the film actually, if you think about it. But whereas Pennywise, he's in it loads. He has like monologues. He's talking loads. So that's one of the reasons I love that film.
That's
Yeah.
part of the evolution of horror in general.
Yes.
Older horror movies were a lot about like holding back on whatever it
Mm.
was, whereas nowadays we're a lot more in your face with it, which has its
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
that's
pros and cons. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's see. So how did you get this role?
So how did I get the role? So I remember I just came out of drama school and just started my first job at the Globe doing Shakespeare. So very different. And then I got the role sent by my agent, and it had a character breakdown on there. And she said, "I'm going to push you for this role. Is this something you're interested in?" Before I push you for it. And I read it, and it said obviously inspirations Pennywise, Art the Clown, Freddy Krueger. So it sounded great. It said heavy prosthetics, obviously covered in prosthetics. It said like sort of combat experience and sort of stunting experiences like required sort of thing. Or it was a great thing to have. And I trained in stage combat at drama school, so already I was like, oh, this sounds great. And it said creature studies is also a bonus. I did animal studies for a term at drama school, so that was quite fresh. I thought, okay, brilliant. So I was like, yeah, send me for it, send me for it. I remember that day I couldn't rest. I could not rest because I kept saying to my agent, "Have they come back yet? Have they come?" And she went, "No, Lewis, I've just sent you for it a few hours ago. Like, give them time." I was like, okay, but I got so impatient, so I followed everyone who was involved in the first film. So I followed Rhys, I followed Scott, I followed Vince, the DOP, I followed all the crew, followed all the cast as well from the first film, just to kind of get on their radar. And then I remember that night, Rhys followed me back on Instagram, and already I was like, okay, this is a good start. This is good. And then I think about a week later, I think it was the day before my show at the Globe, I got a text from Rhys on Instagram saying, "Hiya, Lewis, saw you got put forward and all this stuff. Do you want a self-tape?" So I was like, yeah, brilliant. So made a self-tape, sent it in like 2 days later, and it went great. And I sent in a load of combat clips of me doing like stage combat with like different swords and weaponry and stuff like that, and some stunty stuff as well. And it went brilliant. And that was it for like 2 weeks, and I was going crazy. And I was like, do you think like as an actor, it's like refreshing emails and messages all the time for like 2 weeks? And then yeah, out of the blue, one day got a text from Rhys saying, "We want to offer you the role of Tigger. Loved your self-tape, loved your clips, all that stuff." So yeah, you got it. And I was like, I remember just going absolutely crazy. I was going absolutely crazy when I got that. So yeah, that's how I got it.
Is this like a dream come true? Was Tigger was your favorite character from the Hundred Acre
Yes.
Wood?
So, yeah, definitely my favorite character. Yeah. So when I was a kid, I mean, people always call me Tigger anyway. So even before I got this role, I've always been referred to as Tigger, because people always say I'm very jumpy, and I'm very talkative and high energy a lot of the time. My brain's always sort of going. So a lot of people sort of have referred to me as Tigger before in the past. It's quite funny that I got this role. So it's kind of manifested into this. And then even as a kid, so when I first got the role, I told my family about it, and they were like, "Yeah, do you not remember? They were like, as a kid, you had this animatronic Tigger that used to dance and talk and stuff like this. It was like a big model of him." And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah!" So even from a really young age, I've always loved the character of Tigger, and it's always been my favourite in the Winnie the Pooh franchise. So it's crazy that now I'm playing a sadistic version of Tigger. It's like my two favourite things: horror films and my favourite childhood character, like morphed into one, and now I'm playing him. So yeah, it's crazy.
I have a question that I'm going to interject in because I'm really curious.
Yeah.
You can't see my face, but people don't see me. How Tigger's really known for his bouncing and his movement and his constantly going. And unless for some reason they gave you a prosthetic pogo stick, how do they adapt the bounciness and the hippity hoppity part of
Yeah.
Tigger into his character in this movie? Where unless you're really good at a pogo stick, I can't.
Yeah, no, I'm not good at the pogo stick. Oh god, no, that'd be a disaster waiting to happen. So no, it's interesting how they did it. So I've seen some clips already. Obviously, I can't give anything away, but they're very like with the editing, for example. It's really clever how they've made me sort of look like with like the use of lighting and stuff like that. How it looks like I'm sort of jumping around the place. It's very cool how they've done that. And there's that element of he's always sort of shaking. So in every clip I'm in, so it's very high energy. I'm always vibrating and shaking. Like I said earlier, like I've had 50 Red Bulls all at once. He's vibrating, shaking. I'm twitching a lot, and there's a lot of snow. There's always something going on with him. So he's always naturally bouncy in his own sort of mannerisms and stuff. And then, like I said, with the use of editing, it looks like I'm sort of jumping around. And then because I've done stunty stuff before, and I've done falls and stuff like that, we sort of used that. And then we had, like, for example, there's moments in the film I'm jumping off something and I land in front of, like, obviously, like a group of people or whatever, and it looks like I've sort of maybe just jumped from one place to the other, but it's sort of cheating it, and then using like things to jump off of safely, obviously, and yeah, so like various things like ladders and stuff like that. So it looks like with the use of editing and the magic of film, it looks like I'm sort of jumping around the place, and hopefully it's what the audience sort of see. So yeah, that's how we sort of made that happen. But then there's also that realistic sort of version of like he's always bouncy in himself anyway, and he's always looks like he's ready to go. So that's how we sort of kept that side of the character in the film.
So one follow up to that one, and then I'll go back to you, Don.
Go ahead.
So with every sequel, they're upping the ante, and they make it more brutal. They make it more more characters, more sets, more money, typically more death. You're the star new character in this sequel, as far as like the main one, advertising. Would you say you get the best kills, or how many? What would you say is your favorite part of actually being able to be the horror killer that you have seen in all these films? And do you get some cool ones?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to spoil anything. But there is definitely oh God, what can I say? I don't know what I can say. There's a bit where Tigger goes absolutely crazy. Near the end of the film. So I'll say, and there's a crazy scene that the audience can look forward to, and that day or a couple of days on set was the most fun I had probably like ever in my whole life. And it's something that the audience can really look forward to. Something near the end of the film where Tigger goes absolutely berserk and there's a lot of kills and there's a lot of blood and a lot of gore and a lot of guts, and you just see everything. There's bits coming out of everyone. So that's all I can say without giving too much away. But yeah, I'd say be very excited. Say again, sorry.
So as a fan of horror, was it really weird seeing under the hood of the making of these movies? Being in one where you have like, so that's how that happens. Is that how it happens in all of them?
God, yes. So there's obviously some CGI and stuff like that in it. Obviously, every movie now, but there's so much practical effects, and the practical effects team, like the couple who did the prosthetics, they're just amazing. And the gore they created is like, I was almost cringing out on that side of the camera, like. I'm doing these things to these people, and you look at it, and it's sort of there's obviously bits coming off for everyone. I'm seeing the magic happen, and even I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting disturbed, and I'm seeing like the magic happen in front of me, like I'm seeing how it all works. I'm seeing behind the scenes, and even I'm thinking, oh my God, this is terrible. Like there's times where like they're telling me, oh, this is what you're doing today, so this is the kill we're starting off with, or blah blah blah, and you're hearing it, and I'm like, oh God, this is so imaginative, like the killing. And like how like people can think of this kind of stuff. It's great, it's crazy, and I love it. So even I'm cringing up. But at the same time, I feel great doing it at the same time. So I'm cringing, but also feel very powerful. Like some of the stuff I do, you're coming away from a take thinking, yeah, I just did that. I mean, it's just a bloodbath. You're thinking, I did that, yeah.
So Jared kind of alluded to how a sequel always has to be bigger and better. So what do you think makes this one bigger and better than the first one?
I think this one's bigger and better because sort of I'd say the stakes are higher because more is sort of revealed in this film. So the stakes are definitely higher. There's more monsters. Obviously, I think people love killers in a horror film, and obviously there's double the amount of killers. Obviously, there's 2 in the first one, there's now 4 in this one. And then the kill count is obviously, as a slasher film, you want a kill count. You want a lot of people dying, a lot of blood and guts. there's also a kill count, but it's not like it's sort of glossing over the violence. Do you know what I mean? I think when there's a massive kill count, sometimes people can just sort of can be rushed kills, but it's not. It's so many people dying, but there's so much detail in the gore as well, and in the blood, and in the way they're dying, which horror fans can really enjoy. So it's just sort of the best of both worlds. It's a win-win situation, and that's why not many people are killed in the first one. It's not a great kill count, but in this one, it's just goes absolutely berserk. It's like 100 times the kill count, or something like that.
Sort of like
it's crazy.
Sort of like Halloween Part 1. I think only like 6 people get killed in the original Halloween, but then Halloween Part 2, he kills an entire hospital.
Like, exactly like that.
Oh, cool.
Exactly like that. And I think horror fans, can look forward to that kind of thing in horror films, just getting better and better and better and bigger as they go along. So yeah, and obviously that's just how these films work, isn't it? It's sort of, you just give the people what they want, and they just get better and bigger as they sort of go along. So yeah.
Do you have any cool behind the scenes, backstage stories you can tell us?
Behind the scenes, backstage stories. I would say probably is when I first got very nervous on my first day on set. No one knew I was nervous because I try not to be nervous. But there's a bit where Tigger does jump off a high thing, but it looks like he's just jumped off like the ceiling or something. But I had to, and I'm trained in like certain stunts and falls and jumps and stuff like that. I'm training combat, so I was very confident. But they set up this ladder on the first day on set, and I had to go up this ladder and jump off in front of this group of people and all this kind of thing. And I remember everyone kept going, "Are you right to do this? You're right, because it's quite high up. It's quite high up and stuff." But obviously, like, everyone's checking. Obviously, it's all safe. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive team around. Everything's safe. Everything's being looked after, and it's all being checked and stuff. And I was on the sideline waiting. I remember I've never been so nervous in my life, not because of like what could happen, but because you don't want to mess up on your first day. So you don't want to mess up. I'm here. It's all happening. I've been preparing for a month. I thought the worst thing if I like slip over or hit my head or just do a stupid fall or something like that. I remember that. So that was one of the things on the first day on set. I remember I was up on that sort of ladder. It was all safe. A lot of people looking after it. And I thought, oh my God, Lewis was like, do not mess this up. Do not mess this up. And I did a few takes of it, and it looks awesome. So it went great. So yeah, nailed it. Yeah, definitely.
Nice. What do you have coming up after this? Is there a third one coming? Are you doing something else? What are you up to?
So I can confirm that Tigger will definitely be back. So he's going to be in future films. So I can't say the titles of the films and what they're going to be and stuff like that. But what I can say is that Tigger is back for future films. Yeah. So he will be back. Yeah.
Awesome. It's great. You get to be in a franchise.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, yeah. Hopefully. So all I'll say is be very excited for the future. That's what I can say. Be very excited, yeah.
Awesome.
If you're a Tigger fan.
Are you doing anything else? Are you still doing theater, Shakespeare? What else are you doing?
Yeah. So I wrapped up on Pooh, and then I went back to the Globe pretty much straight after. Yes, it was crazy. So I started the Globe, wrapped up on that film, and I was back at the Globe doing A Midsummer Night's Dream, another Shakespearean play. And then just done other films. I did another film a little while after that, and I played a chav in this feature film. So it was going like a proper English sort of roadman sort of chav. So it's going from like doing Tigger to then doing that. And yeah, various bits and bobs. So getting back into stage combat, I'm trying to keep that going. So that'd be fun. Commercials and stuff like that. So just sort of different. I'm trying to tick a box on different things to do as an actor, different jobs and stuff. And obviously it's going great at the moment. I'm very grateful. And then conventions, something I'm very looking forward to is conventions in the future, like meeting fans of this franchise and of fans of Tigger and the other characters and stuff. So that's something in the future I can't wait for. I can't wait to go to conventions.
Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is coming to theaters March 26, 2024. Hope to see you at the movies.